Download our app today at newwavetkd.com.
Hello and welcome to the Martial Perspective. Today is May 3rd, 2026, and I have a very special guest, yet another Koroshi guy. Today I'll be interviewing Sensei Ron Harris. Thank you for being on the show, sir.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
So tell me a little bit about when you got started. What year did you start training in Koroshi School of Martial Arts Defense?
I do believe it was 1972 when I started, but I didn't stick with it right away. I thought I wanted to play football, junior high school. I thought I wanted to play football, and so I tried that. After I tried that, and I didn't like that. That's when I went to Koroshi. I begged my grandmother to sign me up, and she did.
Oh wow!
Yeah, she signed me up, and like I said, it was Sensei Russell at first. I remember Grandmaster Brown them coming in. They used to come in the evening, and I was there during the daytime after school. And I remember them, and I was like, wow, man, those guys are really doing it in there. It kind of scared me. It was really rough at that time. And we had a bully. This guy used to bully me in junior high school. Well, he used to bully everybody. It wasn't just me. And he used to come by the dojo and look in the big window, and Sensei Russell was like, Harris, I want you to get him. I want you to get him, because he knew what was happening, and I'm like, I didn't want to mess with this guy because he was bigger than I was a big guy, but this guy was bigger than me.
Oh wow!
And he can really fight. So one day we was all in the entrance of the school waiting on the bell to ring, and I had been practicing for about 2 months now. I learned the front kick pretty well, but I didn't know how automatic it was. Because I've never been in a confrontation. And this guy came and he punched me so hard in my chest. And all I can remember is taking one step back. And when I did recoil and came back, I gave him a front kick right to his chest. And in 7th grade, I was wearing a size 12 shoe. And it was wintertime, so he had this great big boot print right in the middle of his chest. And from that day on, he used to come by the school or by my house and say, Ron, you got to show me some of that. And so that was so
he wasn't a bully to you anymore.
No, I didn't have no more problems, and this guy used to fight adults.
Wow.
So,
well, I didn't have no more problems. It just goes to show you that sometimes, you have to defend yourself in order for your problems to stop. So that's awesome. Every
now and then, you do. But what it really taught me, well, Koroshi, what it really taught me is respect for people. The kind of friendship we have that lasted all these years. With all 4 of my instructors, 5 if you count Master Chong in there, we respected all of them. They respected us, and we can tell how the class was going to run because each of them have their own style. Sensei Brown got a style where I like to call him the historian.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. He can remember things. Matter of fact, since I knew you was going to call, I went in my old box, a moving box. I got one of our old workout thing which tells you about etiquette and everything and how our test went. And oh, my God. It was so deep. And my partner, she was reading it, and she never really understood how it goes. And she read that, and she said, I see where you get your discipline from. Because right now I teach personal training,
Mm-hmm.
and I pay attention to detail.
Right.
And I got that from our training because each one of our instructors was so detailed about what they, your stances, when the key eye, when, what part of the fist do you hit with, what leg is supposed to be locked, everything, So the training I got from my martial arts, I take through life. It's a way of life. That's how
Absolutely.
that's how I live. I think about, my training coming up.
Mm-hmm. So
Master
tell me
Clinton,
about. Oh, go ahead, sir. Go
Master
ahead.
Clinton, he's a technician.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way um, his sparring training and stuff. At one time, it was like too much for me when I was a Q rank.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like, man, this is kind of hard, And yeah, because we was practicing throws. I got one for you.
Mm-hmm.
We was practicing throws, and this is the first time I ever really been thrown. So he had us line up. Okay, and I'm in line. It comes my turn to get thrown.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was gonna just grab, pick you up a little bit and toss you over. No, it wasn't like that. It was like, bam, now. He taught us how to break falls first, but
Right.
but the throw was like, now. He's like, you got to get the real feel of it. And that's what it was.
Absolutely.
And after a while, at first you start dreading it at first, but if you just hang in there, you learn how to fall, how to break fall and everything is good
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So you just got to, have a little strength and push through.
Yes, sir. So let's rewind back to 1972.
Okay.
When you wanted to join the martial arts, what made you want pick martial arts? Was it pulp culture? Was it something you saw walking down the street, or did you know these guys prior? What was your interest in it?
My interest was Bruce Lee, Jim Kelly, and all the guys you've seen on TV.
Right.
I was like, wow, man, I would love to be able to do something like that. I,
Hmm.
um, I really didn't understand it at first. And
Right.
and just like everybody else, I thought I was gonna jump into it, and I'm gonna have these high flying kicks and stuff, and I'm gonna spin and take out 10 people, That's what I thought. But it got so much deeper than that. And if you stay around, man, they teach you from the bottom up. They just take their time with you,
Hmm.
and they just teach you from the bottom up. So it was a culture thing, I guess, because everybody.
Right.
I mean, they came out with the song "Kung Fu Fighting" and stuff like that, and it just hyped you up.
So when you started karate, you approached who?
I believe at first I seen the Koroshi being built,
Hmm.
not being built, but them over there doing the sign and stuff, because it was around the corner from where I was staying.
Hmm.
So I seen the sign, and I went home right away. Especially after Bruce Lee came out. Like, wow, I really wanted to do that. I was the type of person. I never really had the only role models I had was my uncles
Hmm.
and stuff. Because and they didn't do martial arts or anything, but that was my role model. I played football, basketball, and I played all the sports.
Hmm.
But I didn't have a role model. I didn't know none of the professionals who they was. I did it because the girls like people who played sports in high
Right.
school. And I was in junior high school at that time, but like I said, I didn't stick with it at that time. But
Hmm.
when I got over into high school, that's when I went to Sensei Brown house and I asked him. So he was the first one after Sensei Russell.
Now, when you approached Grandmaster Brown, was he kind of selective in who you taught, or was he just readily available?
I think we was just we both was working at the time. I was working as a machinist. I believe that was. I know we both had a job at that time. I might not have been a machinist at that time, but we both had a job. And at one time, we started in the street.
Like actual
We
street?
did that for a while, and then we moved from there to Morse Avenue Playground. Okay, so we started working out at Morse Avenue Playground, and then we got switched to second shift. We both got switched to second shift. And so we would go to work and get off at 11 or midnight, and we would come back down to Morse Avenue Playground, and we would work out, me, him, and there was about 3 or 4 of us that be in the building working out.
Right.
But the funny thing about that was there was always somebody at the playground yard drinking or something like that, watching us.
Right.
And then I'm not gonna say no names, but we could just say we could change the name to protect the innocent.
Right.
So this guy, he used to watch us. He was drinking his Boone's Farm or Ripple or whatever it was. I don't know what it was, and he would watch us work out. But for some reason, he wanted to try to work out with us one day. And
While he was
Sensei
drinking?
Brown was like, okay, if you want to. And like I said, our warm-ups was crazy. He had a warm-up written down, and it was crazy. And so this guy, he wanted to try it with us. So he did, and his favorite saying was, "Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby." And let's just say he ended up outside on the grass, puking his guts out.
That's kind of what happens when you're drinking Boone's Farm and practicing karate at the same time.
Well, he thought he was going to do it, but we knew he wasn't going to last. But it was just one of those funny things,
So you actually started training in the middle of the street, like literally a street?
It was literally, we used to play football in the middle of the street. It was one of the little side streets. And that's how we started training. And I got so wore out that first time, Buddy thought I was going to drink the water. No, I poured it over my head. I just let it run, But another thing is, he wanted to, people wanted to do this. They've seen us doing this for a while. So he set up a thing where we went down to Morse Avenue Playground in the football field. And it was just like one of those karate movies. He had a bunch of people. But when they found out that we had to do all these calisthenics first, we had so many jumping jacks, so many push-ups, so many sit-ups, leg swings. Now we're doing the leg swings, and we finally start to get into the martial arts part. When they see we had so many exercises we had to do, the next time we was down there, they had half that many. The next time we was down there, they had half that many, And the core group of us that stayed to get our black belt, it had to be like, at that time, I guess about 7 of us.
Wow.
Because I didn't get my black belt under Master Brown. I got mine under Master Clinton. Because I kept, life got in the way, I got married, I did this, and all kinds of things. So I was like hit and miss. But I finally, when I got with Master Clinton used to come down there to Morse Avenue Playground with us, and he would train us. Master Udell used to come down there, and we had such a great mixture of instructors. I mean, what you got from it, we got a little bit of everything.
Right.
A little bit of everything.
As I understand, the base is Tung Sudo, and then there's added karate parts to that.
They added Hapkido, they had added Judoquan, they had added. I mean, like I said, there were so many instructors that was coming and adding to our art. You know, you get a little bit of everything, which was great. You know, we did grappling and everything, and this was all before the MMA really started coming out. You
Right.
know, I remember a workout we did, Master Clinton had us doing, where all we had to do, we had to hold on to each other, obi. We holding on to each other's obi and couldn't let go, but we had to grapple and stuff. That was great. Or if he hired somebody to come in, if we was testing, and he hired somebody to come in to attack us.
So, did you
Excuse me?
No, I asked, did you actually get to train under Master Tom Bennett as well?
You know what? When I first started, he didn't teach the Q ranks at the first. You know, he had Melvin and Vic. What was his name? Victor. I can't remember his name, but there was two under him that was teaching at the time. I met him. I remember going to a tournament. My first tournament, we went with him. Because I remember we really didn't have pads at that time. And we was allowed to penetrate a half inch. You can punch a half inch, but it wasn't to the head. Everything was to the body. And I remember my first front kick there because I landed up on my back. My first tournament, I kicked somebody and I ended up looking at the ceiling. Whoa, what happened there? You know, but it taught me some things to find my center and everything else.
Right. No, I mean, you get so excited and ramped up. I mean, my second tournament out, I'm like, okay, this guy's way bigger than me. I'm just going to do a running, jumping front kick, and I'm just going to kick him as hard as I can. Well, I did, but then I landed up on my back. I didn't know my center at that time. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, that is crazy and stuff, you know. But you know what else, though? I mean, we used to have sessions in the dojo that was so, it felt like it was spiritual because, like I said, everybody had their own style. Master Clinton's style was, he would get into it and he would have us all moving, you know, we throwing techniques at each other, you know, not trying to hurt each other, just throwing techniques and move, you know. And I remember him saying, you know, I always remember him saying, you know, we was getting tired. He said, I tell my body what to do. My body don't dictate to me what to do. And I remember that, and I use that till today. He don't remember saying that, but I told him that last time me and him talked. I said, I use that, and I got it from you, you know. So when I train my people in the gym, I tell them, you know, I tell my body what to do. You know, I'm so competitive. The workout Master Brown had, I remember one day, I think we was doing push-ups or something. I don't remember the exercise, but I said, let's double it. He said, what? I said, yeah, let's double it. And we did, you know, and we kept challenging each other. And, you know, and Master Clinton was the thing was, you know, he was saying, telling us about the art, and the way he explained it to us was, okay, I'm teaching you something here. You go up against the opponent in a tournament, their instructor taught them something. Now you drawing a picture on the mat. He said, that's the art. You know, you're using your art against each other, you know, and it's a beautiful thing, you know. And when I look at it like that, the type of imagination I have, you know, it's crazy anyway, but I love it. It's just something,
Right.
something you love, something you have to live and stuff. I miss being back east. I'm out here in the AZ. I miss being back there with those guys because they are special. I've been blessed to be at our gym. We got different people that I have met, and you can talk to the real ones. You can just tell. I've been to a few dojos. Matter of fact, I've been to a dojo that I was trying to get my grandson in. Not trying to get him in. I went to go check it out.
Right.
Things done got so commercialized. It's hard for me to find something I truly, appreciate, that I don't mind putting him in. If he was closer to me, I'd do it myself. Right. But he's out there on the west side, and I'm still looking. I'm gonna find something. There's somebody out here doing something legit. I don't like seeing.
Yes, sir.
I'm traditional. I'm so sorry. I'm old school. Hell, I'm 67 years old. So, I'm old school. I like the tradition. I like for you to know the history, or at least have some basic knowledge about it and why do it work and stuff. So I like to bankai a bunch of stuff. I like Melvin Russell was another one. He's we can tell what kind of workout we was gonna have by if the way they enter a room. If you enter that room and it's mighty quiet and he's in there, you'd be like, oh shoot, it's gonna be one of those kind of workouts. But if you enter and everybody laughing and carrying on, it might be light. But you can tell.
Right.
You can always tell what kind of workout it was going to be. We was getting ready for a test one time. It was at Master Clinton Dojo. We getting ready for a test, and me and the fellas, we was down in the locker room. We laughing and carrying on. And
oh no,
Master Russell came down there. He said, "You guys down here laughing and carrying on? If you got that kind of energy, you're probably not ready." And it was just like that. I'm like, oh. So we go upstairs, and all the instructors are up there. And Master Russell took our test, because it's all written down. He took our test and threw it over in the corner and said, "I want to see Wazzles." And that was it. Hours and hours and nothing but Wazzles. And he meant that. And
so,
you know what? Looking back on it, it was a great learning lessons, because we got a little bit of everything. We got the Wazzles, we got the katas, we got the tournament fighting techniques. We got a little bit of it all.
Right.
So it was a nice blend. And then, when you go to tournaments, you get to make friends out there. You meet people out there. I went to a tournament one time, and I was known decently out there on the circuit. But I stayed up all night. I was young and dumb. I stayed up all night, knew I had a tournament that next morning. And I went to that tournament, and my mind was like, yeah, Ron, okay, well, you're going to do this. You're going to, you're feeling good, you're hyped. But my body wasn't reacting. And so I didn't do good that tournament, and I went back down into the locker room. And one of the referees came down there. He said, "Ron, you didn't look like yourself today. What's going on?" And I told him, what I did. I said, "Yeah, I fooled around and I stayed up all night and stuff." And what he told me stuck with me to the day. He said, "You can't fly with the eagles in the morning if you stay up with the owls all night." And that is so true.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
That is so true. So, everybody goes through their steps of getting themselves together. Right. And that was one of mine.
Nice. Yeah. So take me back. So you started training in the street, then you moved to a football field. What was it like when you first walked into the Koroshi School of Karate in Painesville, the actual building? What was that like for you?
That was big because I was an introvert.
Hmm.
I didn't at first. I wasn't good with going out, meeting people, making friends. But when you came through that door, they came and they shook your hand, and they explained, like you never walk on the floor with your shoes, and you show respect when you come
Hmm.
in. I still do that till the day. If I walk into somebody's dojo, the first thing I do is bow when I come through the door. You know, um,
Hmm.
you don't see stuff like that hardly no more.
No, I think a lot
Just
of the etiquette has been lost throughout
yeah.
the generation. I don't know what happened with that.
I mean, it's so basic, and you actually use that throughout life. And we done lost so much respect for things. Martial arts really, if you train correctly, it really humbles you.
Hmm.
Because
I can agree.
there's so many good people out there. They really are. But they are humble.
Hmm.
If you're really good at your craft, you don't have to brag about it. Somebody else will talk about it. You
Right,
know,
right.
that's how I feel. I don't have to brag about it. I mean, I feel good at what I do. It builds your confidence up, and that's what it did for me. Like I said, I was an introvert, and they just come to you. Hey, how you doing? This is, my name is blah blah blah. And you just go from there. So the school itself, even my doctor's son was in my class at that time, Wertheimer, and he was in my class. There was a few more. It's been so long ago, I can't hardly remember who was there. Uh, the Koroshi for me really started off afterwards. Buddy, Sensei Brown took me all the way up to my purple belt.
Hmm.
From there, Sensei Clinton took over, and I got my brown belt from Sensei Clinton, and we was on Erie Street in Painesville. We were still in Painesville, but we was on
Hmm.
Erie Street. And we used to call that the dungeon because you come in there and you didn't have no certain time. We had a certain time we started, but you didn't have a certain time when you stopped. It was at least an hour and a half, 2 hour class at least every time.
Hmm.
And it made it so interesting. I remember we had a class, he asked us to bring in our favorite type of music, and we was doing stretching or something like that, or a class 2 music. And somebody brought in the Doors, and that was so memorable to work out to the Doors. And the way I was thinking,
Hmm.
Sensei Clinton, it took him back to his Vietnam days. So
Oh.
going back to his Vietnam days, Master, he was telling us stories about Master Chong going around in the hangar doing sidekicks while he's training the class, and all he did was the sidekick, boom, boom, all the way around the hangar and stuff. And they said when
Hmm.
he went to tournaments, they called our style Samakwan Taekwondo, one technique. And
Hmm.
that was his technique, was that sidekick. And so what we do, we find what works for us. For me,
Right.
it was my reverse punch.
Hmm.
That's what works for me. I could kick. I was a big guy that could move. People underestimated me because they thought I was slow, but I was a big guy. I could move and I could kick.
Right.
But my thing was, what I finally dialed it down to was a reverse punch. And you practice that, as they were saying, 10,000 times. Just keep practicing that one thing. So you practice what you're good at.
Right.
And you make it work.
So, what does the name Koroshi mean to you?
You know what? We got a couple definitions of it. And the portrait of death.
Mm-hmm.
At one time, I was wearing my shirt in the gym one time, and this guy, he looked it up. I'm trying to figure out what he said. Anyway, Master Brown corrected me on it. But when I first came up and I heard Koroshi, and everybody was saying portrait of death. And or dance of death.
Well, that's not really what I mean by the right. That's really not what I mean by the question. What does Koroshi mean to you?
To me personally,
if somebody were to say Koroshi, yes, a deeper meaning to you.
Okay, my ears would perk up first because that's family. To me, Koroshi is family. Koroshi is positivity. Koroshi is humbleism.
Mm-hmm.
Koroshi is I'm telling you, it's just a heartbeat to me.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's interesting to me. That's very interesting to me because what you said Koroshi actually stands for and what it means to you totally contradict what those two meanings. And to me that's awesome because you found a deeper love and meaning with this name, this word Koroshi, to actually what it stands for.
Well, the thing is, when we trained, I remember this one training session, Master Clinton was like, you have to know when to turn it on and turn it off. Okay, so if you got your yin and yang,
Right.
Okay, if it's off, I'm saying, how are you? How you doing? Is everything fine? Is there anything I can help you with? But when I got to turn it on, why you attacking me? And now it got to be on. Okay, but it's about control of yourself. You can't control nobody else, but you can control the way you react to things. And there's the thing where you have to be able to turn it on and turn it off. And that's what I got out of it when he was teaching that part of the class. It's like a crazy button.
So you have Grandmaster. I'm sorry?
Excuse me, you froze up on me.
Okay. So I'm sorry about that. So you have Grandmaster Buddy Brown and you got Grandmaster Craig Clinton. When did Grandmaster Sheridan enter the scene?
He entered the scene, he was in the scene early too, but he was like, when we wasn't in the building on State Street, I remember going out to his house and we had a workout. I think he was staying in the township at this time. And he had a garage out there and we go up there and we would work out. And we became friends then. When I got married, I left Painesville and I went to Ashtabula. So for me to keep practicing, I start training people in my basement so I can stay current what we was doing in Koroshi. I didn't see Sensei Sheraton in a while, and I needed to find a job. And I went to this place called QPI.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you, me and Sensei Sheraton had became friends earlier, and he remembered me. He was the CEO of the QPI.
Oh, wow.
And I was filling out the application, and the secretary, I was asking, do we have to start at this rate here? Can't we start at this rate? She said, let me go ask my boss. And she went in there and took my application in there, and he looked at it. He said, this is a big black guy? She said, yeah. He said, hire him right away and give him a raise. I was like, wow. He came out and greeted me, and it was so good to see him. And I was there for 13 years before I got bought out.
Oh, wow. That's a fantastic story.
Everybody's
bigger than Grandmaster Sheraton now.
He's the real deal, I'm telling you. He's like,
yes,
he's
sir.
another
Absolutely.
technician. You know, he's such a good guy. Mm-hmm. He's another technician. I mean, the way he trains hard. He trains real hard. And everything is pop, 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 crisp. And to tell you about Sensei Clinton, what inspired me about him, I seen him do a kata once, I believe. And the way he hits his stances and the way he throws his techniques, I was so impressed. And he was just doing it in the maybe the first or second method. He wasn't even going full speed. And I was like, man, that is so cool. And it made me want to do better. You know, when you see better, you want to do better.
Right, of course.
And when I see good, clean techniques and stuff, I was like, wow. And it let me know martial arts is not like you see on TV.
No.
You know, you got to work at this thing. You know, if somebody bum rushing you, you know, you ain't got time to, wait a minute, you know, hey, throw that punch to my head. You don't have time to do that. You know?
Right.
And it's the funny thing, because after I got up into the ranks, the brown belts, and everything, once you start getting up there, you start seeing things differently, you know, especially when you're sparring. I remember we were sparring one time, he said, catch the punches. He said, catch them. He said, don't block them, catch them. You know, your opponent throw them, catch it, you know. I love stuff like this. You know, I thrive for it. I got a cousin, he's into martial arts. His name is Ralph Williams. Oh, I wasn't supposed to use no names. Okay. Anyway, we grew up together. Okay. He was in St. Louis. I was in Ohio. And we like to try to do it wasn't nothing planned, but if I started playing trumpet, he started playing trumpet. I started martial arts, he started martial arts. So when we did get together, you know, we was the type of cousin, we so competitive, we like to bump heads and stuff. We were supposed to be out partying, and we in the parking lot discussing who kicks is better.
There's nothing wrong with that, sir.
There's nothing wrong with that, you know. So, you know, that's...
So, go ahead and tell me about your black belt test. What was that like for you?
Oh my God.
Why do you guys always get that same look on your face when I ask you about your black belt test? Every Koroshi person I've talked to gets that very same look on their face.
Because it wasn't no joke. It was, remember I told you, you knew how to practice was going to be by the way you walked in the room?
Yes, sir.
Me and Sensei Robinson, we was getting ready for, my memory wasn't worth nothing back then. And we was trying to get ready for this test. and we was in Sensei Robinson's driveway. I'm trying to remember katas, and they can ask you to do it 3 different ways. And you got about 3 to 4 katas for each belt coming up, and you go through them all. Then you got your wazos that you have to do, and then your 1-steps. When you first start writing out your self-defense, you got to know body movement. At first, when we first started doing self-defense, I didn't know body movement. I was like, okay, I want to do a front kick here, then a jump spin kick, and then a reverse punch, then lock them up or something. That's what I'm thinking. And then they tell you to work it on a uke. It don't work like that. Okay, because he's coming in, where your front kick coming. Is he going to bend down, or are you going to do a thrust kick and push him out the way? Well, if you push him out the way, he's not there for the next technique, So now you actually have to focus and make these things real. Okay, so if somebody rushing me, okay, and I want to front kick, I want a snap kick. Because if I snap kick him, he's going to bend. If he's going to bend, he's going to be there for me to either do a knife hand strike, reverse punch, another kick. He's going to be right there. But if I kick him so hard he's not there, then I got to think of something else so I can close the gap. So they make these things real. The reason why I say it, because he would get somebody that you haven't been practicing with off the street. He will give them a rubber tube and say, this is an iron pipe. That represents an iron pipe. Then now I want you to stop him because he's going to attack you. And this guy, he's just trying to make his 25
beat the hell out of you with a rubber tube.
Yeah. I seen the guy one time, he was getting ready to attack him. The guy thought he was going to hit him with his right hand. He just switched hands. Tapped him with the left. We had a breaking contest one time. And, at that time, I never really broke a board or anything. Breaking it with your hands and stuff is easy. This time he wanted us to break it with our head. And there's a technique to everything. And you try your best, if somebody messed up, you try your best not to laugh. But I got to tell you that this was funny as it could be. This one guy was going for, I think he was going for brown or black belt. And he had the board in his hand. Instead of bringing his head down to the board, he brought the board to his head. Boom! It didn't break. Boom! By the time he got done, he had a big old goose egg up there. Now, that don't work very well. But hey, it taught everybody else. It taught him too. But you don't bring the board to your head. You take your head to the board. My memory with
so
my
moving
first
on.
memory at the Koroshi School. Excuse me?
No, go ahead. We have a little delay here.
My first memory at the Koroshi School was with Sensei Russell. I'm a white belt. I'm in there. And he's teaching the kids, us. And I seen his foot up there, so I got a foot sweep in. I thought, he let me get a foot sweep in on him. And he fell down on his back. And me, I was like, okay, I'm excited. I'm going down. I'm going to punch him. He chopped me right in my throat. He said, Harris, you okay? You okay? I'm like, but all of these are, like I said, learning experience. But
struggling to talk.
The black belt test was, it was rough. Sensei Russell was there. Sensei Clinton was there. Sensei Brown was there, and it was from in the mornings until the evening. And I'm telling you, this was the roughest thing I've been through. When we was done, we were so dehydrated, we was getting cramps. You'd be sitting there, and all of a sudden, cramp kick in. I was like, oh, it was nuts. And we was mad. Our emotions, they mess with you spiritually, mentally, and physically, They get you like that. We was mad at the time, That test didn't have to go like that, but it made us better. Because after you sit and think about it, and that's what you got to do. Yeah, you got to take your mind to different places and stuff. It's not what somebody do; it's how you react to what's happening.
Absolutely. So, with you doing karate and Koroshi School of Defense, it actually led you to do a deeper purpose with your life. Now you're a personal trainer. How did that impact you into going into physical fitness, and how did the karate lend you to your full-time job now?
Because helping people. I work with stroke victims, ALS people, rehab people. I do it all. And the way I do it, I take martial arts is a life for me. So whatever I learned there, I bring it with me. When I train my people, they think I'm one of the hardest trainers around, but I get the best results. And that all comes from my martial arts training because I pay attention to detail. I'm about technique, and no matter what, if I'm training with them back east or not, I go over my katas. I used to hate katas, but I learned what they are for. Master Russell, I used to ask him, how can he be throwing us all over the place and he have us attack him? He said, I'm just doing a kata. He just put together what he do in kata, and he just go, and he had us flying like we was rag dolls and stuff. So I take what I'm doing, I pay attention to details, and I make them do it right. And over again. That's the only way you get it. Repeat. You think you did it right? Okay, do it again.
Right.
And that was it.
Well, we're ending the near end of our show here, sir. And, I want to thank you for being on the show. An hour is not really long enough to get to know somebody and get to know their journey. So maybe in 6 months we'll do this again and we'll talk again and see where you're at and everything. But, I want to thank you again. Do you have any parting words for our guests or for our listeners?
Yes. I wanted to ask you, do you mind? I got a friend out here. His name is Dan Severin. They call him the Beast. You probably heard of him. UFC champion at one time. Yep. He's out here. As soon as I see him again, when he comes out, you mind if I give him your number so he can call you and you can have him on?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm most definitely going to do that. He would love to do a thing with you. Well, parting words is...
if you two both want to be on the show at the same time.
We will make that happen. We will make that happen. I'll give you a call and set it up, my friend. Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, sir.
All right.
It was so... Go ahead and stay with me after the closing here, and we'll talk about it. But, I want to thank you again, sir. It's been a blessing talking to you. You're such an upbeat, positive person. You're exactly what Grandmaster Sheridan said that you were, and I'm thankful to have met you and now call you a friend.
Thank you.
I want to thank all my listeners for listening. I want to thank all the listeners for listening, and keep positive, lift one another up, don't tear each other down. Hug Sue.
That's it.